What's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. Alright, so the Lakers go down at home 134 to 130 to the Charlotte Hornets. And it was a rough one. I mean, obviously the game was close. You're happy that you scored so many points. I think you saw some good games out of some individual players. I thought the team played a pretty solid team game, for the most part. So I don't want to sit here and act like I'm in the mood to bash or complain too much. That's not necessarily the vibe. It's just another heartbreaking loss, So this is the deal. This is what I have to say. If you watch my halftime video, I was upset with the small guard lineup 2-man thing, right? But it was halftime, it was tied up. So we had seen a little bit of that, but it hadn't nearly gotten to where it was headed. Third quarter was very, very interesting. And we had already given up 40 points in the second quarter because we went with that small ball stuff. The third quarter, we ended up having a situation where basically we ended up going down by 17 points because of that very same dynamic. He subbed those two guys in, and it was all downhill until he subbed them out. Somehow, by the end of the quarter, we had found a way to close in. Why? Because he took those guys off the floor, put the big guys back on the floor. And as a result, we were able to see the score kind of close in. We had cut it from 17 all the way to 5. But then the Hornets did a good job of stopping the bleeding, hitting some big shots. Kept the lead from being exactly to where we wanted to be. Now, midway through the fourth quarter, he subbed those two guys back in the game. And if I'm being honest with you, they played very well in that sequence. The game of basketball is very fluid. And sometimes you try certain things and they just work. And it'll be the very thing that you hate seeing all the time. But for certain sequences, it went well. And so I thought that they played well from like the 6-minute mark until like the 2-minute mark. But then we had a situation where we had a fast break. And unfortunately, Patrick Beverley was a part of it. But it was just a 3-on-1 fast break where Austin Reeves had gotten the ball to Russell Westbrook, and Russell and Patrick were basically running the same lane together, and the play got botched. It was a tie game, turnover, Charlotte scores. And, mind you, it's like a minute left when this happens. The game is very, very, very close to being over. And we just blew a 3-on-2. I think it was a 3-on-2 fast break that would have gave us a lead. So, and then you had a situation in a couple plays later when you're down by 3, or rather 2, with like 5 seconds to go. LeBron James comes out of his shoe, man, on the final play. He's trying to drive the basketball. He's doing exactly what everybody wants him to do. Instead of settling for 3-point shots, we always tell him to put it on the floor. But this time, I guess, he put it on the floor and stepped out of his shoe. And luckily enough, he was able to get the pass off to Dennis Schroeder in the corner, but Dennis was not able to hit the 3 that would have sealed it for us. Russell Westbrook was at the top of the key with a 3-point shot that I'm pretty sure we had an option to get it to if we wouldn't have slipped. Russell had already hit a 3 from that area in clutch down the stretch of the game with like 3 minutes to go. He had hit one, so you felt pretty good that he could hit another one. But we just weren't able to get that play off. You want Braun actually dunking the ball, so it's not like I'm upset at what we got there. It just was unfortunate. So we had a lot of things that went unfortunate. It was a lot of unfortunate stuff. Goaltending calls that didn't go our way. Calls that just did not go our way. The refs were, making sure that the Charlotte Hornets were well represented in every way, shape, and form down there. And when you do get to the line and you only hit like basically 55% as a team, you're not going to do nothing. So that's how it went for us. And then you got to talk about the fast breaks. They really, really basically doubled our fast break points. We only had 10 of them. I think they had like 28. So that was awful. But then if you look at the points off turnovers, like we destroyed them with points off turnovers. So it was one of those things where it's like, I guess they were turning the ball over, and as a result, we were scoring in the half court because it certainly wasn't on the fast breaks. But we definitely killed them when they turned the ball over. Now, the thing is, as I told you guys, this team tends to draw a lot of steals. They had forced, 15 steals in the last game against the Clippers for a total of 27 turnovers that they forced as a team. So when you look at that, you automatically know they're going to play defense. And tonight they got us with 11 steals off of, I think, 16 turnovers. So you got to give their defense all the credit in the world for just ultimately being thieves. And, it was one of those things where it's like, look, man, the Charlotte Hornets are an optical illusion, just like most of these tanking clubs. They got way more talent than they want the league to think they have. So what they do is they stagger out their players throughout the course of the season, so you never actually see the fullness of their team. Terry Rozier and LaMelo Ball probably haven't played together all season long, but you damn sure they was out there tonight, fully healthy, running all over us, which is really starting to get old. I get it. Everybody wants to trade with the Lakers because we're the hot team that wants to make trades. But every single time we are on the floor, all these guys want to come back and play. They don't even want to play against other teams like the Rockets and the Hornets and whoever else is out there. But when the Lakers are on the floor, suddenly all these dudes are super healthy. So that's what we ran into, a healthy Charlotte Hornets team, which is literally never healthy. Like, everybody was out there except for Dennis Smith Jr. Now, unfortunately for them, Nick Richards did twist his ankle pretty bad in this game. So I don't know what that means in terms of his availability for them. But as far as we're concerned, man, they were fully healthy. And they just really had that to their advantage tonight with Terry Rozier hitting shots. It was one of those situations where we found ourselves giving up easy buckets with our short players on the floor. Every single time those two players were on the floor, it was just a layup line and jump hook season, dunk season. It was just very, very clear, especially in that third quarter sequence, when those guys went down by 17 points, and we could clearly see the people who were on the floor that was causing all the mischief. You know what I mean? And the thing is, it's not that they were causing mischief. It was just that was the reason we were not able to be effective, was because of their inability on the court to just provide size and make plays work properly, so that we don't have some of the stagnation that we saw. And then on the other end, of course, as we say, rebounding the ball and stuff like that, we just, even if Dennis Schroeder's hitting shots, even if Patrick Beverley's getting assists, they're still not able to effectively get rebounds. It still leaves LeBron James to have to try to board by himself. It still leaves us at a disadvantage because our coach wants to put Lonnie Walker in those lineups too, and Lonnie's only 6'5", so it's like, it would be so much easier if our coach, if he were forcing us to have to play with those two players at the same time, to at least make sure the small forward is extra tall. Put a big small forward in. Don't leave Lonnie Walker as a third guard in your little tiny lineup, because that leaves us as angry as we are when we see it, But you leave those guys at a disadvantage as well. If you could just put somebody down there that can do some of those things for them, maybe a Max Christie or Troy Brown, if you just let them have a real small forward in that lineup, I think it'll be a lot better for them. You know what I mean? And so that's what it is. It's not like I think those guys are playing bad. In fact, I thought they played good. Dennis Schroeder's having one of the best weeks of his Laker tenure, but in what lineups? To what detriment? You know what I mean? When the team can't seem to have any success with him rebounding, his rebounding deficiencies and defensive deficiencies, etc. And so I felt like this was the best game to bring back to Darvin Ham, to show him why this just does not need to be going down no more. If ever there was a game that showed you in the numbers and showed you in every aspect of the game, including down the stretch when we were trying to get the big plays and just couldn't get it, including the shots that were missed by the players that he's really relying on, you just leaning on the wrong people, and as a result, we are falling down the standings. The tumbling is commencing. So that's what we saw down there. I mean, it's not deeper than that. We saw Thomas Bryant kind of go down with a shoulder injury, which I'm wondering how he's going to be doing with that. And obviously we can't afford to lose him because we don't have any competent centers outside of him, and that's just facts. So in the event that he's out for any reason, we're going small for real. And if that's the case, and you can just pencil us in for any losses that we may be involved in, because we can't beat a single soul if we don't have some size out there. So that's what there was to see, as far as numbers and what people were doing. I'm not going to lie to you. Some of them numbers just ain't sticking out in my head, man. I think it was Patrick Beverley had like I don't know. It was PJ Washington had like 23 points. I believe it was 20 points for Austin Reeves. It's like scattered numbers popping up in my head at random. I think LeBron had like 38 and 8, which was really cool. I really liked his game. He had like 4 threes. Um, it was just that kind of game. I really like what I saw from Wenyen Gabriel. His energy was excellent tonight. He bounced back after having some bad games and, of course, being out with the injury. But this was the best game that he's had since coming back, and he gave us everything we needed. And I just felt like we didn't lean on him as much as I would have liked to see him be leaned on for his production. He was just doing too much good out there to not be seen more. Max Christie only got 10 minutes, 0 for 1. That's just a coach thing. If you want to know where I'm upset, it starts and ends with how we're using Max Christie. You can't have a game like this where you're having issues defending guards that are just going completely nuts on you. And then you look down there, Max Christie, our best guard defender, arguably is only getting 10 minutes. I just don't know what he does to lose minutes. And that's the thing that I don't like about Darvin. It's like guys aren't being rewarded or the play is not being reflected in how they're being seen. If a guy's playing well, should I not see minutes reflected in his style of play, in that playing well? Like, if I'm not wording it correctly. If he's playing well, shouldn't he get the minutes? That's essentially what I'm trying to say. Like, that's not a consistent thing here because of Darvin's belief in certain players and his philosophy. And so I'm not enjoying what I'm seeing down there. And it's leaving players at a disadvantage all the way around. So that's just what I'm seeing. It was an interesting sequence down there. It just pops up in my mind. I don't think it was overly important, but throughout the course of trying to pinpoint where LeBron James can really help himself as a leader, this was one of those situations that I saw a domino effect. That you don't want to blame LeBron for this because it's just not fair to do that. But when you're talking about trying to help somebody understand where they can affect things, this is where he affects it. You feel me? It's like it's the same thing, you just worded different. So Thomas Bryant was down the stretch of the game, had given up easy dunk to a center. And I told you guys, Thomas Bryant is not a rim protector by any stretch of imagination. He's basically an offensive center. You know, you like him because he has a lot of energy, but when you watch him play defense, he's not good. So it's one of those situations where that happened, and Bron kind of got frustrated. His body language just kind of shrugged, and he kind of waved Thomas Bryant to hurry up and get down court. You know what I mean? Like, just it was his body language, like, dog. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world at all, but it is when you're the GOAT and guys get anxious about playing with you, and, it's that kind of thing. And I assure you, like, right at that exact moment was the play that Thomas Bryant got hurt. Like, that exact play. He was rushing down, trying to get down there, after messing up the defensive play. Bron had gotten on his case. He ran down there and immediately got into the play that got him hurt. And I'm just saying, I know that's not Bron's fault. I absolutely am certain it's not Bron's fault. But you can see how the body language led to the way that actually went. If Bron doesn't hit him with the body language and wave him down, whatever the course of the events happens after that doesn't occur. Now, these are things that like I said, if you're looking at me, you're saying that has nothing to do with nothing. And I understand people will say that has nothing to do with nothing. But when you are the orchestrator of your team and you are the pinnacle of all the league, you and Michael Jordan are the only two guys, then you know those players who are of that level know they are responsible for those things too. The butterfly effect things, 2 plays, having the ability to see 3 and 4 plays down the road, that type of thing. And people talk about is like psychic ability. All of that. There's something to that. It's strategy, it's understanding, it's anticipation, it's setting people up with plays as if it's a jab in a boxing match or something. It's a lot that goes into it. So when it comes to players understanding their teammates, body language is a big deal with certain personalities, especially guys who are superstars. They got to understand that every little thing can affect how your teammates move. And if your body language is up and you're showing support, guys are going to be more confident in themselves. But if your body language is bad and you are kind of showing them that you don't have faith in them, things happen. I don't know if there's any science to that or not, but I've seen it before. Guys just end up doing stuff. Either they try too hard, or they're not focused, or their balance get off because they're thinking about what they're disappointing you. Or I don't know if there's anything to that, but I've seen it enough times to know that it's worth talking about. So I just think that Bron's body language will correlate to players getting more comfortable in his overall surrounding. And once that is something that he masters, it'll be one less thing that he has to worry about. You know what I mean? But that's just what it is, man. He's doing a great job of working on his deficiencies and weaknesses and things of that nature. We're seeing him be intent on doing exactly what the team needs over the last several weeks. And I don't think tonight was any exception. I was very pleased with what I saw from Bron. Looking to get others involved. Turnovers are pretty much down. I think he had like 3 or 4 of them, which is pretty solid for a ball handler. 38 points, like I said, he was picking his shots. He was pretty efficient. Didn't take any errant 3-point shots. The threes that I saw him take were given to him by others. He was looking to get guys involved, even when he had opportunities to get other shots. Like to play to TB, for example, was another where he tried to get the ball to TB, and TB didn't get it done. But these are the things that I just want to see him do. Because at the end of the day, as long as he's giving his teammates enough looks, that'll keep the defense off of his backside. That'll allow him to continue to be able to maneuver some. Because once they're, putting that super defense on him like he's used to getting, he's just not going to be able to overcome it the way that he was used to be able to. So that's what I'm looking at there. Gotta give LaMelo Ball credit. That big 3-point shot he hit in front of Austin Reeves. It's one of those situations where young Austin's going to understand there are certain players in this league, Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, LaMelo Ball, and a few others. They can hit that long 3-point shot. A guy like Peyton Pritchard from Boston, they shoot that thing from far away. And you got to understand, if you don't body them up 30 feet away, 28 feet away, you're going to get shot down. And we learned that hard lesson. Trae Young, these players shoot that ball, man. They don't have any problem shooting from 40 feet, 35, whatever. And so that's what we saw tonight. It was basically the game-winning shot. You know what I mean? And it came from a hand-down, man-down situation where Austin Reeves is used to guys not shooting that far away. He's used to guarding guys that just are going to take a few steps in. And that's just not LaMelo's game. He don't need to do that. He's a set shot kind of dude. You know how we talk about guys that we don't want to see shooting off the dribble? He's complete opposite. He specializes in shooting off the dribble. If he's pounding it and he puts it up, it's probably going in. And that's a rare skill, but he has it about as well as anybody in the league right now. So it's one of those things. It's like, nah, you can't. He doesn't need to jump, basically, to shoot his 3 more or less. He could just kind of shoot it on his tippy toes. I've been watching him shoot that shot since he was 14 years old, man. You cannot. You just got to know the scouting report on that guy. That particular guy, no. Hand up at all times, no matter where he's at. And expect for him to put it on the floor, And I knew when LaMelo got beat with that first step layup play that Austin got in the first quarter, I was like, I know LaMelo's going to get the last laugh. I know it. I just know it. This is just how this goes. Because Austin got him, that first step Austin had, and LaMelo was standing still. It was like he had cement shoes on. Austin got him, got the layup. Real nice play, but I'm thinking to myself, like, Austin, you better be ready for the get back because it's coming. And sure enough, it came in the form of that 3-point shot at the end of that game. So this is one of those situations where Austin is extremely intelligent. He will definitely learn from that. And I thought he played a very good game. Like I said, 20 points in a little botched play on the end. I don't think that was his fault in any way. Guys just got to run the lane better, and it's up to coach to not have them on the floor like that. You put Patrick Beverley, Russell Westbrook, Austin Reeves, all these guards on the floor at the same time. It ain't nobody's fault things go wrong but yours, Darvin. When Patrick Beverley's running the lane the same path that Russell Westbrook runs, newsflash, fam, they play the same position. Of course they're going to run the same lane naturally. What the hell you think they both do? They both play the same position, just like Dennis Schroeder played the same position. They're all point guards, man. So whose fault is that really? I'm not going to blame the players for what I saw down there. Absolutely not. I'm blaming the coach because those rotations basically told the story. When he put good, switchable, long-armed, tall, height rotations on the floor, the score reflected in positivity. When he put those small guys on the floor, with the exception of the 6-minute mark in the fourth quarter, where LeBron James put his head down and basically bulled us to a win despite not having rebounders down on the floor around him, we were getting our heads stumped in. It was a layup line, dunks all over the place. And so that's all it was to it. That's it. And they put themselves in a hole, and we were able to dig our way out of it to a degree. But Charlotte, they're a good enough team, especially when they're fully healthy, to not let you fully come out of that hole. A guy like Terry Rozier, LaMelo Ball, Kelly Oubre, those guys were scoring left and right. P.J. Washington, they weren't to be played with tonight. Gordon Hayward, that's a talented bunch of people, man. Mason Plumlee, McDaniels, they all scored the ball. I think they had 6 players in double figures. 5 of them had over 15. 3 of them had over 20. Like, they just scored like crazy, as you can see in the score. And, the points in the paint need to be talked about, because the Lakers, I think, only had like 46. I think they had like 63 or something of that nature. So clearly they were killing us in the paint. And we had talked about that, because they had, if I'm not mistaken, they were able to kill the Clippers in the paint. It was Sacramento they destroyed the paint. 72 points in the paint, to be exact. So these are things that we had scouted when we played Sac a couple days ago, knowing that they had played them as well. And it's just like, leading up to this stuff, we knew they could score in the paint. We knew they could do what they do. But if you don't get out in the fast break against a team like this, you're going to have trouble, and that's exactly what happened. Only 10 fast break points on the game? Come on, man. Come on. We won the rebound in total by 1, but we gave up, 11 offensive rebounds? I think that's what it was. Come on. We had talked about that as well. Everybody on their team, everybody in that starting lineup wants to steal the ball. Everybody in that starting lineup wants the offensive rebound. And I just look at Darvin Ham, and I'm like, bro, are you doing any homework on these teams? Because I'm doing homework, and it don't take but 30 minutes to know these things. It don't take long to know who you're going up against and who's playing well and what they're capable of doing. So when I tell you in the pregame video that you can't go small ball against this team because they have dynamic guards that can switch into big guard lineups that are going to shoot over you, that's exactly what you saw. That's exactly what I told you. You see is exactly what you saw. I said, look for the Lakers to go down when they put them 2 players on the floor at the same time, because those guards that those Hornets got, they're not going to play that. They're not going to do it, especially if Terry Rozier was on the floor. And sure enough, he was out there. Sure enough. Stealing the ball, shooting the ball, laying the ball up. He don't play nothing but 30 games a season, but you best believe he was going to be there tonight. So irritated by that. So yeah, man, that's what the game was, man. It's a shame because the guys played well. Everybody, played hard. The only person that was a 0 for gopher was Troy Brown. I don't think he scored in like 3 games. So it's one of those situations where I look at Troy Brown and I appreciate what he can do defensively. His length is so important. And his 3-point shot, when it falls, it can really help you. You've seen him have flashes of being a competent small forward on the offensive end. If he ever puts it all the way together, he could really be a helpful player. But it's hard for him because he's not overly talented, not overly athletic, and he's really young. So he's in that spot where you're like, it's the equivalent of him being a scrub, basically. You know what I mean? Because when he fully develops, he's going to be a good role player. But for the time being, he's a low or level young role player. So it's like, it's really hard watching those guys develop, man. It's almost like what's the point, to be completely honest with you. You just don't see the upside. He can help you because of what you need on your team. But when you start thinking about all the small forwards that you can bring in his stead, it's like, you can do better. It's just like Kendrick Nunn. It's like, I know we can do better with our roster spot. It's not even about disrespect or not liking the guy or none of that. It's just, there are other players out there you can get right now that are going to give you what Troy Brown's giving you and more. And the Lakers just have to have an imagination about putting those players on the floor on their team. That's literally what I see there. But for the time being, Troy's able to help us, and I just think believing in him is difficult because when you put him on the floor, you don't really play all that well, and you got to sit him down. So it's like a Kendrick Nunn effect. It's just like If you're going to play well, I can trust you. But if you're not going to play well, we don't need to see you. And so that's a problem because he is a tall player, and we do need to see him. That's the point. Small ball crap, he is one of the great antithesis to that. He's the help to that problem. If we got to go away from him, then chances are we're leaning in on Patrick, leaning in on DS, leaning in on none, and leaning in on losses. So that's how I see it, man. I didn't pass up the Kobe minute, but I definitely want to acknowledge it. But it's just one of those things where it's like, you watch this team go up against a Charlotte Hornets team that you know damn well is probably only going to win about 30 games a season, and you just gave them one on your home floor. And then you realize they're better than you. Like, man for man, they're better than you. You look at guys like Kelly Oubre, PJ Washington, JT Thor. They got talent on this team, man. Maladone hitting shots, Dennis Smith out. You look up and you realize that because Anthony Davis is hurt and all your money's wrapped up in him, and you got most of your money wrapped up in Westbrook and the other money wrapped up in LeBron, you realize that the Charlotte Hornets are legitimately a better basketball team than you. You know what I'm saying? And you look at your team talking about, let's bring in Zach LaVine. Like, Zach LaVine's going to help that. He ain't going to help that. If anything, he's going to reinforce more of the same. It's going to be harder, even harder to get players for longer. You know what I mean? Because at least this problem ends with Russell coming off the books at the end of the year. You want to add 4 years to that problem. So picture having these type of role players for 4 or 5 more years because of what the Lakers are trying to do. Yeah, a lot more games like this where you just can't beat the worst teams in the league. So, to be tired of this team is an understatement. I'm not tired of them. I just want them to make changes right away so I don't lose interest in what we're doing here. I mean, it's simply put, it's our 3rd loss in a row, and we're seeing the same thing that caused us. The last 2 losses caused us this one. It's the same thing. Dennis Schroeder and Patrick Beverley in the same lineup together with a small forward that's just as small as them. And you would think Coach would see this and not like what he sees. You would think he would start accumulating these losses and just saying, man, this ain't working. Or even better, he would see where he gets away from that and the score changes every single night for the better. Every single night. Just like Frank Vogel. Which makes me think this may actually be an organizational decision. Because the coaches continue to run small ball to the detriment of their very own record. And so I'm sitting here thinking, is this a thing that Jeannie wants to see? Does she want to see Dennis Schroeder and Patrick Beverley on the floor together? Is that what this is? Like, somebody help me understand. Is this a Rambis thing? Is this Kurt Rambis is behind this? Is that what's happening? Because I can't seem to understand why a coach would watch this, get the evidence that he has, and continue to run it. That's illogical in every single way to me. You know? And to say he believes in something, it's like, I believe in it. Okay, coach, you believe in it. Fine. What is it that you see? Help me believe too. And through the first, 30 games of the season, he's done nothing to make me believe in this lineup. He's done nothing to make me believe in this. Nothing at all. I've seen nothing in these lineups that make me think Dennis Schroeder and Patrick Beverley should be believed in together. So that is really the singular focus here, man. I can't get past that, and I don't think I need to, because it's the single reason why everything has gone wrong. So it's on Rob Pelinka to look at that himself and remove those players from the lineup if he wants to see any success going forward without AD. It's that simple. I don't know if I can have a conversation about the Lakers without saying these things anymore, too, honestly. I don't know if there is a conversation that doesn't involve us removing those 2 players from this roster. Not anymore. Because without them, we can win. With them, we can't. Evidence is in the game. We saw it tonight. So, congratulations to the Charlotte Hornets. The game ball goes to, I don't know, somebody over there, man. Probably LaMelo, I guess. I don't know. I really don't know who the best player on that team was tonight, because honestly, we just let everybody on their team look very, very good tonight. We really did. We made their whole team look good. That's what I have to say. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching.